Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to teach you how to draw this child in the snow. Look how cool that is. All right, that looks really amazing. So all we need for this is some watercolor paper, some crayons or oil pastels. I use the Crayon brand, yes. Some black watercolor dye, a stick or skewer, a plastic butter knife to scratch off those little furry lines in that hat and the muff. Very cool. Yeah, pencil and paper, an eraser, tape. There's a supply list, but it's going to be great. Look at that. So let's get started. I have my 8 by 10 piece of paper and I have my tape on the edges, and I have marked the 8 by 10 size by this rectangle out here. That way, if you choose to tape more or less, you'll be able to see what is where. I've also divided my picture off into halves so that I have 4 quadrants. And since we're drawing a portrait of a person, a child, we're going to work in each quadrant. That way we can get our proportions accurate. I say that because when we draw another human, we can have an emotional response. It's not that we don't know how to draw, but we think about things and subconsciously we're like, oh, those hands are important or not as important, and we get them too small or we get them too big. And like faces, we think that could be very important. We could get it too big or too small. But when we draw something objectively with a plus sign, it helps us get the proportions more accurate. So I'm going to start down here in this corner because this has got some lines that will help us. So here's my midpoint, and I'm going to put like a little kind of diving board that way because that's going to help us with the jacket. And then I'm going to put a line down kind of beside this line for kind of the zipper. Then she's wearing a scarf or a gaiter, or it could be a boy, can't tell in the picture because everything's covered. We just have a nose and eyes later on. So this will help us. If you have a grandchild that's a girl or a boy, you can choose colors that will more match your little person in your life. And so it is non-specific in our drawing. So that's kind of like the zipper on the jacket. And you can see how I'm about halfway up, or I'm stopping about halfway up, and I'm just over from the center. And so now we're going to have the floof we have lots of floof in this picture, so this will be kind of like the floof. It is shaped like a rectangle, but it's got floof around it, and it's a little at an angle. So you kind of see, actually my eraser almost fits in that little space like that. And then the sleeve is going to head in this direction. It's a puffy jacket, so the child is probably much smaller inside the jacket than it looks. But the child will be very warm. And so I want to put a mitten, but the mitten is going to be a little foreshortened because the hand is bending around a snowball. We want to show this child is having fun in the snow. And when you pack the snow together, your hands kind of come together. So we'll put like a thumb and the fingers coming at us like this, and then we can put the snowball inside of it. Whee! All right, so 2 mittens holding a snowball. And usually little kids will kind of hug it close to their chest. So we've got our zipper here so that we can we'll have it kind of opening up a little bit because, they don't like it closed in on them too tightly. That's why the scarf is important. And then the puffy jacket will come forward so that the snowball is resting on their chest. And then there's a little bit, maybe the shoulder kind of puffing up. And in the foreshortening, we'll have a little bit of fluff from the other cuff. So this cuff is fluffy. with this mitten, and that cuff is fluffy with that mitten. Just like that. So we already have one quadrant done. So now we're going to move over and do this quadrant. So when we're drawing here, we want to use the whole space. Don't just connect stuff close to this, because then you'll have really huge hands, or she'll have really huge hands and then not a very fluffy coat. So look at the whole space, because I see a big puffy sleeve. So let's bring this across this border here, and then we're going to kind of bunch up where the elbow. So this is the fabric bunching up in wrinkles. And then let's go up next to this line. And then they put big shoulders on the coat, because remember, the child has to stay warm. Not only that, they probably have on a full outfit underneath, and you don't want to have to argue with your child about whether they can get their arm in there. So we have this giant sleeve, which puts the back of the coat back here. Okay, so there, that's a real close-up, which makes me think that maybe we need a little front of this coat here. So we'll just add that line there. Yay. Okay, big puffy coat. And we had this part of the front of the jacket. So let's bring it over to the top of the shoulder. This is part of the collar. So we'll bring it kind of straight over under there. And let's have maybe the opening about there. Right. We are 2/4 of the way done, and we're getting it nice and proportional. We are doing a 3/4 view on this child. So it's not in profile, but it's also not straight on. And we don't have to worry about lips, so that's nice. But let's go up from here for the scarf. So it's pretty parallel to that. And let's kind of bring the scarf around her face. Think about, like, imagine that that's going to kind of go behind her face. So this is the flip. The little cheek, you know, their cheeks kind of stick out. And so we'll be glad that that is there, because we can make the cheek go like that. And so we're kind of close over here. We want to fit, let's put the left nostril right on the line. Kind of looks like a number 6. Color it in. Don't be afraid. And let's do a skinny. Let's do like a skinny number 6 like that. So this is more wide, and then we're going to put the flare, how it bulges out. So we have kind of a piggy looking nose. That's because small children have to be able to breathe. And then the slope of that nose, and then the eye is going to be touching that nose. So this will be the top of the eye. We'll put the pupil in here, and then the bottom of the eye kind of looks like a Green Lantern symbol, especially when I put the pupil there, but we'll go ahead and make it kind of like that. All right. So it's behind the nose, because the nose is covering more of the information that we can see. And then the hat is going to be setting right over the brow, kind of over that. So I kind of cheated by going across the line a little bit, but that's because you needed to see what was happening there. And then this fluffy part of the coat, well, we can draw the hat part first. The hat part's coming up like that, and then the fluffy part is going to be sticking out around, and then there's like a little nestling of the fluffy part. Okay, because now we can start right here, and fluffy, 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 very fluffy, go higher than you'd expect, almost to the top, to there, because this is going to be a very fluffy, fluffy hat. Okay, so we got that part. And we'll do the background after we finish this child's face, because now you're a little nervous. We kind of snuck up on it, but we want to get the other eye and the other side on there. So let's do that. So we're going to go over here and find the other side. So we've got this part, And this is going to be a continuation of the scarf around the neck. This will be a continuation of this, and this eye, I'm going to go right over, find the top of the eye there. Let's go right over, find the bottom of the eye there. This one is touching the side of the nose, but we need a big space, big enough for another eye to be there, actually. So we're going to go there. We're going to go up to there and down. And this is going to go up to there. This is going to be up and down. And then this eye is looking left. So this eye needs to be looking left. All right. Looking left. Yes. Then the fluffy bits. Actually, we can make this lash a little bigger. So looking left. Looking left. Make this bend up a little bit so it shows that the face is round. Looking left. Is this the same size as that? We'll make it a little bit more that way. Now it's the same size. And then we're going to take the fluffy stuff over. This is almost like a box shape. Box it up. Box it, curve it all the way down. See how it's kind of happening in a square, a rectangle? Okay. And then we're going to go a little higher and quite large. So we left off with this line here, but that is how far over the fluffy stuff will go. So we got that. And then this fluffy stuff is actually going to go under here to connect to there. But this is just the front of the hood. There should be more hood behind. So we want to kind of come out at an angle. Usually this kind of coat has like 2 seams. And then it kind of curves back to this midline. There. Now, the child has all the important lines drawn for the child. And now we want to think about the background a little bit. So let's have the background be just a little bit above this midline. So kind of curving. And let's do like a swoop like that. Okay? So that seems like plenty of information for our coloring part. So at this point, we're going to erase the big plus sign. Goodbye, plus sign. And then let's use our pencil. When you like it, you're like, yes, I like it. Then you're going to press really hard to trace it so that the watercolor dye will get down in those grooves and the oil pastel won't so much. Okay, so let's do that. And then we will return back here again in a second. This is what it looks like after I pressed really hard to trace. And I'm not a very patient tracer, so like when I got to the fluffy stuff, I even made like more fluffy stuff. So I'm not really going to have ghost lines. It's like I have twin lines because I didn't trace exactly, so I ended up with 2 lines in places. It's all going to be good. And you can see I pressed really hard. I could almost feel it with my eyes closed, like where all the lines are and everything. Oh yeah, so we're talking about the nose. So the younger they are, they need to be able to breathe while they're drinking milk. So their noses kind of turn up a little more. And as they get older, this space kind of fills in, the nose gets larger, kind of turns down. So that's how you can tell it's a really young child when you can see their nostrils when they're all wrapped up in the snow or any other time too, because that is a normal part of childhood development. All right, let's get our colors out. I will describe them and then you will know which is what. We are going to put watercolor dye on this. It is black watercolor dye, so it kind of looks like a bluish, purplish, greenish, grayish color because we don't have India ink black or something that's really black because we don't want to obliterate things. We just want it to create an interesting patina because we will be scratching later. With that being said, that means we have to save areas that we want to look white. So for instance, the whites of the eyes, all right? And when we color white there, you're not going to be able to see that it's white. So we'll start with the kid's face first. We're going to get this like light orange color, and you can see mine is really dirty. So I'm going to need a paper towel to clean that off, and then I'll show you how to do that. I'm back with a paper towel, and so how you clean this off is you take your dirty pastel, and then you wrap it in a paper towel and you twist it, and you see all those schmutz comes off in the paper towel. And you just repeat that and kind of twist and roll it off until you get all of that off. So that end looks nice and clean. I don't really need to clean the other end, but you never can tell. I might get lost in the video and forget and get that color elsewhere. So there, keep a paper towel handy and twist that color off, because now I can color the only skin that is showing, and that is this little window to the child's face here. So I go right up to the lines, color that press hard with this, even if you don't press hard with anything else. By the way, you can use another color if you want, but I'm going to start with this one. This seems to reflect the population that I've been seeing in our meetups, but it doesn't mean that you can't choose a different color. You're welcome to. So I've got this one here. I'm going to snuggle really close to those lines, just like that. And there's a ton on there, so you can see lots and lots and lots of that color is on there, okay? Now, before we venture too far, I'm going to get the white one. Yes, I have a decent white one. Okay, and I'm going to go in the whites of the eyes. And I should have two sides. I've got this side and the corner side over there. And it's okay if I go too crazy and I get on the part of the eye that is the colored part, whether it's brown or blue or whatever color you choose. All right, so it's thoroughly covered. Yes. And now I'm going to take a little pink. I'll put make some roses into these cheeks because the child is outside and it's probably cold, and even on the nose. Then I can use this to blend it again. Blend, 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 blend. Blend, 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 blend. Yes. Blend that up. And then knock all those schnoodlings off. Okay. And then I think I will try out. I'm going to have brown eyes, so I'm going to get just like me. I'll put some brown on the part that's looking. And if you're like, oh no, I got too much, that's what you have a stick for. But I'm going to use my thumbnail. So see, because we had the white on there, and the graphite, I can get it all the way up. I can even be like, now I'm going to do a different color eye. I could change it up, but let's put the white back if we scratch too much. So that'll still be there. And then the skin color back. You can use your fingers to kind of blend it in a little too, because, yep, get a little smoother. Put a lot of it on there first, but then you can kind of smooth it a little bit. That seems nice. All right, so I think that this brown was a little too reddish brown, so I'm going to try my Van Dyke brown. Yes. Now, you may be wondering, Miss Alayne, why didn't we put the black on there for the pupils? That's because black gets messy. It gets everywhere. So with the bear, it was cool, but we're not going to do that yet with the bear. So we're just going to hang tight, and wait on that. Okay? All right, so we have used white. We have used the pink rose one. We used the light orange. I tried this one. I didn't like it so much, so I went with the darker brown. Yeah. It still looks too bright. A little bit like scary eyes, because it almost looks red. The one called brown almost looks red. So the Van Dyke brown is better. And I'm kind of doing dots so I can get in there. Let's talk about how she's wearing like a woolen hat underneath of her hood. And she has on a scarf or a gaiter underneath of her hood. And so I'm going to have these two be the same color. Now, we are going to use two colors together to create a cool effect. So you just want two colors that one is a darker version of the other. So for instance, red is a darker version of pink, so you could use red and pink. You could use dark green and light green. You could use light orange and dark orange, or you could even use like the vermilion red and you can use a light orange. Or a yellow orange, I should say. Light orange is this peachy color. But and I'm telling you this because I want you to be able to personalize your child. So if you want something different. So I am going to do neighbors on the color wheel. I think I'm going to use like the vermilion red color because, you know, I'm a big fan of red too. And like this yellow orange color. So I'm going to clean off my vermilion red. Make sure there's no mucky color on there. And then I'm going to run some stripes, woohoo, up on this woolen hat going that way. And then I'm just going to create some kind of wrinkles, kind of some shadowy spaces going on the scarf this way because, and maybe even the bottom of the scarf. And this way I won't say it's a he or she because then you can decide, right? And I think I will put even this color in this little space right here for like the shadowy in between, like that. So now I get to use this one and it is cool. So watch, this one will blend that up. It will look cool. So the dark color first, whichever two colors you chose, and then the light color on top to blend that. Looks like some port wine cheese. All right, and then we will do the same up here. Maybe I need a dark edge. Let's put a dark edge close to the face. There we go. And let's put a dark edge next to the fluff too. So not just the stripes, but also the fluff. And now I will color in this direction. Color, 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 color in that direction. Great. All right, that looks good. And now I think oftentimes the gloves and the hat and the scarf kind of match. So instead of having it be both colors, though, I'm going to have it mostly be this vermilion red for the gloves. So coordinating gloves. Just kind of get that on there, on the thumb. That. And maybe there's like a pattern or something. I can use a little bit of this. Maybe they were tie-dye gloves. I don't know. There we go. So we already have some parts on there. And now you know where the snowball is. Before it was hard to tell. And okay. Now I'm going to go with a blue jacket. Okay. So, yeah, I know you could tell. So I don't care what blue you use. I'm going to use light blue and dark blue. So this is a blue. It's darkish. And then a lighter blue color, okay? So I'm going to use this color to kind of trace all those lines that we had for the jacket. And I went with blue because I think orange and blue are complementary colors. I could have gone with red. Any color you want. I could have gone with purple. If you're doing a girl, like pink and purple would be cute, like pink and stuff, and then like maybe a purple jacket. So go ahead and personalize this for your own self. We don't know this child. This is a made-up child. So you have more freedom. And yes, all right, so we got that and that. Okay, and then let's think about like these shadows. Maybe they would go a little farther because we just kind of sketch those in generally. And maybe they'd be a little darker down in here, front. Maybe a little darkness behind his elbow. Maybe a little darkness behind the little hat here. Okay, very fun. You can see like my lines are very dark. Okay, so we have that in place. And, oh, I see a little part down here because remember we added that later. Stick that down. All right, so this is just the one called blue, just the regular blue. Actually, this one says cobalt blue, but it's just the regular blue. We have the vermilion, the yellow orange, and this is the very light blue, the light blue one. And so now I can color in between, and this will blend, and that will have a nice effect to blend those two colors. And the other thing is we're not putting brown on the top of this one. We're using black instead of brown, so it's not going to change the tone in quite the same way that the brown, it changes our tone. So it's a very different style of patina of surface. So we have maybe a brighter feeling of our colors is kind of nice. And it'll still get subdued, but subdued in a different way. Blending, blending, blending. Notice I'm using a good amount of pressure, and you get more satisfying blending of the two colors because you can see the blue mixing in. So I'm using pretty good pressure, but I'm still staying inside the lines when I color, so I'm kind of blending those lines in. Like I don't want to go across from here to here and go across that sleeve because I'll lose the shape of the sleeve. So I want to be in the sleeve to get the shape of the sleeve, see, when I'm coloring. And the wrinkles, kind of push those in that direction. That's where the sleeve is bent. The elbow is bent, and therefore the sleeve is bent. Right, and then I can fill in the rest right there. Yes. Very cool. Okay, and I've left a little spots. Some of that ink will go in there, but also I probably hit it with a highlighter too in a second, doing the highlights. Just like that. Okay. So we have a child. Very cool. So I'm going to use my white one now to create maybe some highlights on the shoulders. Make this sleeve look like it's in front. The arm is in front of the other part. This part's in front. A little poofy jacket kind of feel, right? Color coming that way and that way. Sun hitting the back, sun hitting the top and the side. So it just adds a little more dimension to that coat. The trees in the forest behind are going to be Van Dyke Brown. And we want to use this and remember that trees grow up, and do some random lines that come up and crisscross. Don't be afraid to be generous with these trees. There will be no punishment for putting a lot of trees. So you'll be glad that you have probably a fence line of trees back there. That's why the snow is here in the yard. And then this is the fence line. There might be like a fallen tree. It's like near the boundary. Branches that reach up. Okay. So we have that back there, which is kind of cool. All right, and then we're going to save what we do back there for a little later because I'm not ready to clean off my white a bunch of times. But the Van Dyke Brown is also going to help because a lot of times when the kids have these like furry hat collars, there's like little colors in it. So I don't know if they're trying to make them look like little snow leopards, but there's little fragments of colors in the depths of these. Now, when I was little, I was so proud because I thought I was just like Santa Claus because my mom got me a red fuzzy, fluffy coat that had white around the face. And I got to sit in Santa's lap, and it made me very happy because I matched him. I felt like I was a fashionista in my Santa coat. But now I very rarely see just white. So see how it radiates out? I don't know, it's giving me a little Cruella de Vil feel, but I've really seen it. And then let's use a little bit of the yellow ochre color to get a little tone in that too, because it's definitely more of a tan beige cappuccino color. It's not just white. So that's gonna help get that color in those places. And now we know the difference between the floof and the snowball. So that's good too. All right. Now, even if you didn't do the blue coat, we're still going to put a little bit of kind of like blue, barely touching, some sideways little marks of blue back here to show that people had been walking in the snow and that that's just a flat area. And we'll use a little gray too, because that'll make it a little muted gray, 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 back in there. And I'm trying my hardest not to put purple, so you know I'm behaving myself. Let's get our white handy. Let's put a little light blue in this little space for where the snowball stops. And I see I have some light blue on my white, so I'll clean some of that off. Because now I'm going to carefully start from there and go up and get this whole snowball white, but it'll have a little light blue on it. And if I'm careful, I'll try not to get a lot of red on there. But look, I got red on there anyway. So hopefully it just looks like a reflection of my gloves. I can put a little bit more blue to smear around. Yeah, that helps. Yeah, so I'll put some blue on there, and then I'm using the white to blend the blue around, but it still looks like white. It's kind of like a long time ago there was something called bluing that you could make white things look whiter if they got dingy, and then that was the time period when people had purple hair from bluing in their laundry and bluing in the hair. We don't do that anymore. So, but blue can make white look whiter. So I've got that on there. And then I need to color with all my might on all of this and this. All right, so I'm going to turn it this way because it'll be easier for me to color. Color, 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 color. Oops, I forgot to clean it off. Oh, well. Color, 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 color. Color, color, color. A lot of on there. Yes, and it hits the gray, and it does stuff, and it hits the white. And I'll do that part first because that's the whitest part. But it's not perfectly white because we put gray and blue, and that's a good thing. Even if you had a different color outfit. If you made a pink and purple coat, you maybe have a little purple back there. That's fine. I go like this so I can get this part. Very good. All right, tap off the strudelens. And now I'm going to color, mix these little blending. I'm going to go kind of in circles and blend the floofy stuff. Floof, 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 floof. Floof, floof, floof. Floofy, floofy, floofy. Very cool. And around the face. Kind of looks like caramel and chocolate ice cream. Yum, yum, yum. Kind of blend those in. So because my coat was blue, there might be some little blue bits. If you picked a different color, there might be purple bits. Just let that mix in, go in little circles. It will be cool, cool, cool. All right, better than plain white. It looks a little more realistic than plain white, for sure. And we're making some good art. Artwork is better than just a photograph. I did most of my research from looking at children's clothing advertisements for this. So I used a bunch of like probably 15 children in coats with snowballs and mittens to compile a nice sketch for us to use this time. So No photo credits today because people were just trying to sell me winter coats to children by the time I was done with all of my searches. And I got the best of all the worlds right here for us. All right, that looks so cool. We're really getting to use these crayons for their ability to blend and mix with each other. And now I can add a line right here for the side of this, where that pencil line is. And now we get to create this kind of like world back in here. So we've used white there, we've used white there. Oh, see this little triangle right there? You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Prussian blue in there because it's so dark. So you pick whatever the darkest version of whatever color you chose for your coat and stick it there and under there and in the armpit there. So whatever the darkest color is, so that we can separate all the different little parts. Okay. All right, the forest. So we have our trees that we drew, we pressed hard. And then I'm going to take this white and I'm going to trace right next to them. Well, let's just trace them all right halfway on, halfway off, because that's going to be the snow on those branches. So going right next to them. So let's see if I can show you in the camera. See, halfway on, halfway off. It's a little difficult to see, but you'll see the effects in a bit. So I'm using pretty good pressure, and I'm smearing like half of that tree with halfway on, halfway off. Then I'm going to take, in the in-between spaces, I'm going to take a little bit of this brown and color with very light pressure in between. So I'm not on the white part. I'm in between the brown part and the white part. And then I'm going to take the white to blend to make, it should look like that it's a forest that's got a lot of shrub kind of growing in between the things. And so that has a darker top than a bottom. Oh, I need some brown in there. See, I missed some brown. So gentle, gentle, gentle. And then color, color, color. So I'm not going on the dark brown, and I'm not going on the white part that I did secondly. So this is the third, and the remaining area is brown plus white. So we have brown by itself, white by itself, and then brown plus white blended. And it should be a little abstract, but it'll read, when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, that's a little tree line that has little scrub brushes kind of growing up in between things. So it kind of has that look to it right now. And that makes for a simple and beautiful little background. It frames the child really well and shows that there's no leaves. It's winter time. If you need to retrace any of your brown lines, feel free to go back with your brown and get those tree lines back too. So it's kind of a fun and simple little way to get those back there. And let's keep going all the way across. So I think I have my white edges. Gonna get some little browns. Okay, and then retrace any of the trees with brown that maybe went away. Oh, got a little on my blue. If you get some on your blue, don't worry, just take your blue and go over it and make it go back to blue. You do want the child to look like it's in front. And okay. So some of this is just white, and you can't see it at this point. Some of it is brown, And no matter how hard I try, there's going to be some part that's just paper and it will turn black like a forest back there. And that is okay with us too. All right, if you like your child just like this, you do not have to put black watercolor on it. But I really think that you'll like the results with the black watercolor. If all else fails, you could do the whole thing again, or you could do 2 of them. But let me show you how it looks on mine first, and then you can decide if it's something that you want to do. Everything is colored that I need to be colored so far. I do not have black craypaille on it yet because that can make a big mess. I do have my liquid black watercolor. You can get, this is from Blick, but it comes from other brands too. Okay, before we do anything, we have both a pencil and a pokey stick, like a barbecue skewer. I think because I colored, I can't see anymore. I'm going to retrace the top lid of that eye. Because I want to be able to see that well. And I'm pretty sure I could have done the stick. If I do a barbecue skewer, it's still the same thing. It's just kind of like scratching off that nose. Like that. Because I want a space for that black watercolor dye to go, right? For eyeliner. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this on here. Oh, is that scary? Ooh, all right. And you probably don't need any more than that. And then I have a very old sponge today, but it's clean, so it's not going to smell funky. I'm going to go in circles. Now, this sponge is dry, and the paint is wet, and it is full strength. I did not add water. You can do what you want. Other people have very good methods for how they like to do things, but let's see what it's like to do with the bull and the china shop approach. So I have used lots of pressure with the oil pastels. I have used a dry sponge. I've used straight up black paint, kind of goes on like an oil sludge, and it is on there. It is very, very on there. Then I'm going to take my same dry paper towel because I have it only on one side, and I can fold it up like this. And now I can start removing it. Look at that. Oh, it went into the eyeliner very nicely. Gave it some really good eyes. Very good. Now it's not a bright and sunshiny day, but oh, you can see where I didn't color very close with my white next to his glove and snowball. It's okay. It's like there's some shadows over in there. And you can see in the forest where I didn't get with the white or the brown. But all in all, that's a cool effect on the forest, right? All right, so this is what it looks like. Full strength, dry sponge, dry paper towel to wipe it off. This is like the darkest possible. And it does look pretty dark. This is baby wipe of some sort. You can see it's got like little sheep on it. So it's wet. I always keep unscented ones here in the studio. So if you want, you can kind of control how much you wipe off. So this is going everywhere for a minute. Everywhere for a minute. There we go. And see, a lot came off. But I think I'm going to leave it on the forest, and I'm going to kind of clean up the face. I'm going to clean up the snow a little bit behind. And the coat. I'm not going to really clean up the forest, so. You can see going this way and that. Gets a little brighter. And then I probably need another one. Let's see. Looks like tie-dye. Find a little sheep there. There. That's working pretty good. Go a little this way, get this sheep going. Yeah. Now it's not real sudsy. This is like a sensitive skin, unscented. A wet paper towel would work as well too. In my studio, the baby wipes are expensive and the paper towels are cheap. So I thought if I use the paper towel, I might get shredded bits more than this baby wipe. Okay, so that's all we need for the patina surface. It's very different than the brown. Some of you may like it more, some people might like it less. Even this part here where I missed, I can clean it out pretty good, and then it looks more like a shadow, which is quite nice. All right, so now we have our plastic knife with the teeth. And so now I'm going to start getting the little fluffy bits on the hat. So I want to do little strokes. I can go away from the face, I can go towards the face, but I don't want to get on his little woolen hat or his gaiter. So let's show you up close. See? Isn't that fun? All right, and so we'll just keep doing that. I can go back and forth without picking it up, and then it will be longer and a little deeper. Remember, don't press with all your might because then your teeth will wear off of your knife. And then you have to go find another knife, but it does work pretty good even if I don't want to lift it because we put those cool other colors in there. Fun, fun, fun. Yes, very fluffy. See how very fluffy? I bend it a little so it shows up in my camera because the tripod's in the way if I keep it flat. And then you can use your paper towel and your baby wipe to get those schmutzes off of there. And of course the fluffity, fluffity, fluffity. Fluffy on the sleeves. Not the snowball. We don't want a hairy snowball. Okay. Fluffy, 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 fluffy. Back there. All right. And we also have a skewer stick because you might want to put stripes on the woolen hat. Remember when we did the woolen hat going that way? And then we can do our scarf going this way. Very fun. And we get to scratch out the whites of the eyes. So the child has brighter eyes. Very cool. Oh, and I've got my very cheap Dollar Tree brush here. We can make the woolen mittens look very woolly by going in little circles like it's been crocheted or sewed. So now they're mittens that have been knitted instead of, I don't know, waterproof mittens. So I'm just kind of going in little cursive letter E's repeatedly. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, then we have a skewer that has a point. So if you lay the point down and you press your finger behind it, you can remove snow left and right like that. Because it's kind of like if you're drawing your pencil from the side. Okay, so we've moved some snow left and right. Let's move some snow off of our snowball. Get a nice white snowball. Very cool. And let's do that approach to get a little highlight on the jacket. So a little highlight on the jacket, which is very cool. Okay. Also, the skin tone looks a little bit more natural with everything else that we've had going on here. Sideways stretching, sideways stretching. So I'm not up on the tip because that would be precision scratching, right? You can use precision scratching here. But when you need to get off larger swaths, you kind of lay it more flat. And you can get more swaths off that way, which is very cool. this way. Yep. Now, some of those trees, I can see, like, this is whiter, so I could trace the trees to create that snow on the branches. Remember, we did some snow on some of those branches. So don't go in between the trees, but to create the snow on the branches, you can clean those off. See how cool that is? You want a little bit like that. Oh, so cool, so cool. All right, and we used our knife to scritch this, but maybe see if the edges could be a little brighter. You can kind of scratch it off the very edge for where the end of your hat meets like the pencil line next to the blue. So it's a little brighter, a little bolder there, right? So it's almost like we got to draw this picture 3 times, but it really gave us some cool effects. And we can do that next to the little scarf. Oh yeah. Next to the top of the mitten. And of course the snowball, yeah. All right, so that looks pretty awesome. Yeah, he's having a good day. Some of you are going to want to know, can you scratch on his face? I think maybe we should probably leave it alone, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to scratch by the bridge of his nose. I should have left it alone. So what if you scratched it and you wish you hadn't have? Well, let's see. My fingers are pretty messy. Yep. Make sure your fingers are clean before you do it, because now I have a blue face. Okay. Let's see if I take my I enjoy making mistakes in front of you, because then we can repair them together, right? All right, so I took my light orange and I went back over where I messed up. So let's see. If I scratch it out. Oh no, I scratched too much out. Okay, and then I put this back on. Yeah, it's a really good remedy, especially if like you forgot a spot like I did over here with the black. It seems like it helps. My pinky finger's clean. There we go. So yeah, just keep fussing with it. That's the nice thing. This paper is really thick. If you over fuss, it can take the pressure. Oh, look, I went in circles and I got like brighter cheeks. All right, so if you're looking at the reference, you're like, how did that happen? Now you know. Give him a brighter forehead. Yeah. Oh no, I got it on his hat. Okay, so I'll just scratch it off the line of the hat. Your skewers are a little bit thinner than mine. I don't know where I got this bamboo one, but maybe a caramel apple pop? I'm not sure. But yours is still sharp, and it still has a beveled edge from being sharpened, so you'll be okay. All right. Now I said to please wait for black. Yes, because you're going to take your little black one, and you're going to put a pupil. Because no matter what color the eyes are, they still have a pupil, and I'm going to use my stick to kind of poke that in there, because like we've all noticed, you can't sharpen these. So if you get it in the wrong spot, you can just take it off again with that stick. That's how we have control. Okay, and then we're going to take our white one, our brand new white one. We're so excited. It's been through things now. And we're going to put a little boop. Yeah, see how I put that highlight there? Now, if your highlight's too big, you just erase around with your little stick. Now it has a little sparkle. Yes. All right. I lost part of my nose. Come back, nose. Okay. And that is our child in the snow. He looks a little older now, or she looks a little older now. I'm not sure which. But that's our picture. All right. So I hope you had a lot of fun. It's not fast, but it's also just kind of more repetitive. So there's no super tight spaces. You can kind of mess with it as much as you want. Scratching is a lot of fun. The scratching will not be fun. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. The scratching will not be as high contrast and obvious if you don't put the black paint on there. The black paint is what gives it a surface that you can scratch off. It's even why there's a lot more contrast to the face, and the face has more dimension, is from that black paint. So I know it's scary, but I think you will have better results if you put the black on there. You could even put like little bark lines on these trees back here if you want. So I'm all right with you being creative, because if you get it wrong, you can just put it back on and go again. See? Super cool. All right, well, I hope to see you at a meetup, and I hope that you have happy holidays. I will see you soon. Thanks for joining me.